Canada's win over the United States in Hamilton on Sunday, a 2-0 final scoreline, keeps the Canadians at the top of CONCACAF as the only undefeated team. We reached out to TFC Republic's John Molinaro to break it all down. John, no Alphonso Davies, no problem, right? What did you think of John Herdman's lineup and how they weathered the attack and allowed the United States to kind of control the tempo of the game for the majority of it?
Yeah, I think you're quite right. I mean, I was really impressed how, even though the U.S. kind of dictated the pace of the game and enjoyed the bulk of the possession, they really didn't produce much in the final third. I mean, Canada did a really good job of keeping the Americans in front of them. I mean, Milan Borjan obviously had to make that great save on Weston McKennie right before halftime. But other than that, I mean, a pretty composed and concentrated effort from the back line. And, I was just really impressed with Canada's discipline and organization on the day. And when you think about it, Canada produced two quality chances, in attack, and they buried both of them. And that was the difference in the game, unlike the Americans who didn't take their chance well. So I think overall, just a kind of a gritty performance from the Canadians, which is, somewhat appropriate considering, the setting of Steel Town and the steel mills in the background. But I think just overall, a really composed and, character-filled effort from the Canadians.
Absolutely. Throughout this World Cup qualifying campaign, John Herdman has praised his side's depth. Who are some of the players that have really stood out to you in this matchup? For me, the man of the match was Sam Adekubi, and I just think his development in this World Cup qualifying stage has been incredible, but he's only one of a few guys.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with him. He seems to have taken his chances really well when given the opportunity. I think he's just such a dynamic, two-way player for Canada. But a player like Alistair Johnston has really caught my eye as well. I think, when you consider he was playing in League One Ontario not that long ago, and, he was only drafted in, the last couple of years from the NCAA ranks, the fact that now he's one of, I would suggest the best sort of defenders in MLS, and he's become such a pivotal starter for the Canadian national team. It just speaks to his development as well. Obviously, with Alphonso Davies out of the lineup, there was questions as to who was going to sort of fill the void. And, Tejan Buchanan, I thought, although somewhat quiet on against the Americans, thought he was outstanding against Hondurans last week. Just such a dynamic player. Really, what I really like about him, Brennan, is that, he's so fearless, right? I mean, just absolutely runs at opposing defenders. And, he gets stuck in and he doesn't back down. And I think, Canada has long kind of suffered from that lack of attitude of, not getting, being sort of timid and not getting stuck in. But he's someone who does not sort of back down regardless of what the situation is. So I think he's someone who, I really appreciate his game on so many levels.
As Canadians, we can be very humble, right? But you look at this table, and with 4 games remaining, Canada is in a very good position, and the only CONCACAF team to ever take 8 points off of the United States and Mexico in some type of World Cup qualifying situation. So can Canadians book those flights to Qatar?
I think so. I mean, it would take, a spectacular collapse for them to not qualify for the World Cup at this point. I appreciate that, John Herdman doesn't want to hear any talk like that. And in fact, when he was speaking to us, after the game yesterday, he made a point of saying, look, nothing is clinched. There's still a lot of work to do. Nothing is there's still a lot of, points there remaining on the table. And, he made a point of saying, look, I'm not going to let my players off the hook. They have to stay concentrated, especially with, a tricky trip to El Salvador coming up on Wednesday. But, I suspect in his heart of hearts, he knows that this is, it's virtually there, right? That, barring, as I said, unforeseen circumstances, they're going to go to the World Cup. And, it's great. I mean, the fact that they are in this position with 4 games remaining to be virtually assured of a spot, I don't know that even the most optimistic Canadian fan would have thought we'd be in this position at this point. And, you get the sense that even if they don't win in El Salvador, if they're somehow upset and lose, that it's not going to make any difference because, they're in a very strong position going into that final slate of games in March to clinch a World Cup berth. So it's, I think they find themselves in a fantastic position at the moment.
Quick prediction for Wednesday then. Are they going to make it 3 wins in a row?
I think so, Brennan. Just the way they're playing, such momentum. I mean, you saw, over the last 2 games how, we really saw their true depth and character and quality. I mean, missing players like Alphonso Davies, Steven Eustachio. I mean, Atiba Hutchinson, who was brilliant against Honduras, didn't even dress yesterday, and they still held things together quite nicely in central midfield with Jonathan Osorio, Mark Anthony Kaye. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate Herdman's comments about not wanting to take El Salvador lightly, but this is a team that they beat quite handily back earlier in the World Cup qualifiers, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if they complete this international window with 9 points from 3 games.
Always great to talk with you, JMO. Thanks very much for this.
No problem, Brendan.